a lot of times these police precincts or these DA office, they actually get like a hard on for like an artist or someone who they feel has evaded them. They're used to working with the judge and working the criminal justice system and the courts, and they have favorable outcomes. So when somebody beats them, they usually try to get them.
NBA YoungBoy is now caught up in a situation that's got fans questioning everything about his freedom and his future. Behind the fame, the money, and the music, YB was riding through Utah when a tip was dropped to the authorities, triggering a traffic stop that could have sent him straight back to prison. What really saved him from catching another case wasn't loot kit, was a complicated chain of events involving Mellow Rackz and the driver. And the truth is way deeper than people realize. Today, we're breaking it all down. What's good, fam? This story dives into real street loyalty, snitching allegations, and serious federal pressure that's been shaking up the hip-hop world. Situations like this expose who's really solid when the heat turns up. Social media has been going crazy, claiming YB walked free, while his people took the fall. But we're here to separate facts from fiction and tell you exactly what went down on that Utah highway. NBA YoungBoy was riding on Interstate 15 when a state trooper pulled him over for an alleged traffic violation, but make no mistake, this wasn't random. Word had already reached law enforcement that there were drugs in the vehicle, and the feds were just waiting for the perfect moment to catch YB slipping. This wasn't bad luck. This was a calculated move, and the truth behind it changes everything. And if it wasn't for the loyalty of the people riding with him that day, NBA YoungBoy would be staring down serious federal time right now. But this is where the story gets real spicy. The feds are still salty over that presidential pardon, and make no mistake, they haven't stopped trying to put YB back behind bars. So let's rewind. Around 4:30 p.m. Utah time, YB is riding on Interstate 15 with 3 people in the vehicle. YoungBoy in the back seat, Mellow Rackz in the passenger seat, and a male driver behind the wheel. Everything seems normal until those red and blue lights light up the highway. Now in the streets, everybody knows when you're moving with some of the feds already got their eyes on, you gotta move extra smart. And YB is definitely on their radar. According to Fox 13 Utah, law enforcement had already received a tip claiming that this exact vehicle was carrying illegal drugs. That's not coincidence, that's snitch behavior. Somebody knew the car, knew the occupants, and knew what to tell the police. The trooper says the stop was for a traffic violation, but let's be real, the tip is what set everything in motion. Once they had the car pulled over, they were hunting for probable cause. And in Utah, marijuana is still completely illegal, no medical, no recreational, nothing. So when the trooper claims he smelled weed, that was all he needed. That single excuse opened the door for a full vehicle search. According to Utah Highway Patrol, illegal drugs were discovered and seized. The moment those drugs were found, everyone in that car knew the situation just went from bad to worse. This was the point where loyalty gets tested, where pressure gets real, and where you see who's solid and who's about to crack. But trust me, this story goes way deeper than just a routine drug stop. See, Mellow Rackz and the driver didn't hesitate. The moment those drugs were found, they stepped up and took full responsibility. They looked the cops dead in the face and said, "That's ours, not his." No confusion, no second guessing. They accepted the charges on the spot, fully aware they were risking serious legal consequences in a state that already has NBA YoungBoy in its crosshairs. According to reports, the Utah County Attorney's Office is reviewing charges for the driver, and Mellow Rackz only YB wasn't arrested and wasn't charged. He walked away free because 2 people decided his freedom was worth more than their own. Now let's really talk about why they made that choice, because this is where people who don't understand the game get lost. NBA YoungBoy is the money. He's the one generating millions, paying the bills, feeding families, and keeping everyone around him financially stable. If the police take YB and lock him back up, the entire operation collapses. No tours, no music, no checks. Everybody eating off that success suddenly goes hungry. Mellow Rackz, the driver, their families, everyone benefits from YB staying free. And make no mistake, catching a drug charge in Utah is no light situation. We're talking possible prison time, heavy fines, and criminal records that can haunt you for years. But they weighed the risk and made a calculated decision, better us than him, because if YoungBoy goes down, everybody goes down with him. They sacrifice their freedom to protect the source. For those who don't understand street loyalty or how crews really move, here's the reality. When you're part of a team, especially one built around a superstar, like NBA, YoungBoy, there's an unspoken code. The breadwinner, the face, the engine of the whole operation gets protected at all costs. It's not just friendship. It's not just loyalty. It's survival. It's keeping the money flowing so everybody can eat. But here's the crazy part, and all of this, the feds still aren't done with NBA YoungBoy. To them, he's still a target. And this situation only proves how far they're willing to go to try and take him down. Let me break down why this traffic was probably way more than a random bust. Back in 2024, NBA YoungBoy was staring down serious federal gun charges real time, the kind that could have shut his career down for good. The feds had their case lined up and were ready to put the cuffs on him. Then out of nowhere, something happened that shocked everybody. A presidential pardon. Just like that, the entire case got wiped off the board. Now ask yourself, though, you really think federal prosecutors just shrugged their shoulders and moved on? Not a chance. That kind of loss doesn't get forgotten. Since that moment, they've been waiting for any slip-up, any excuse to put YB right back in their crosshairs. DJ academics even spoke on this, warning that YoungBoy needs to move extra careful, because Utah, in particular, is not rocking with him at all. And that makes sense when you remember this is the same state where YB got tied to a prescription drug fraud case in 2024. He paid a $25,000 fine and probably thought that chapter was closed. But Utah didn't forget. When you beat the system once, they remember your name. When you beat it again with a presidential pardon, they start looking for strike three. The Utah authorities reportedly admitted they were examining whether YB's past criminal history could somehow be used in this situation, even though he wasn't the one who claimed ownership of the drugs. That alone tells you how bad they want him. They're searching for any angle, any technicality, any way to connect him to that vehicle and turn this into a violation of probation or parole. And this goes way beyond one traffic stop. This is about a pattern that has fans genuinely worried about NBA YoungBoy's future. Real talk, YB moves like someone who hasn't learned from past close calls. He keeps flirting with situations that could send him right back to jail, and that mindset is exactly what the authorities are waiting on. That mindset makes him dangerous to himself and to everyone around him. And to understand why the situation keeps repeating, you have to look at NBA YoungBoy's history with drugs and drug-related cases, because this definitely isn't his first run-in. Over the years, YB has been connected to multiple drug situations, from prescription fraud to possession issues. Time and time again, he puts himself in positions where law enforcement can easily step in. And the wild part is, every time he beats a case or escapes serious consequences, instead of moving smarter, he falls right back into the same patterns. That's textbook crash dummy behavior. A crash dummy is someone who keeps making reckless decisions, expecting a different outcome each time. They don't learn from close calls. They don't adjust when the pressure tightens. And whether people want to admit it or not, YB fits that description. Word in the streets has been that he's constantly around drugs, whether for personal use or just having them in his circle. Either way, he's always one stop away from another charge. And considering his position on multimillionaire artist who literally just received a presidential pardon, that's not just reckless, it's self-destructive. Think about it. You just dodged serious federal time. You're making millions. You've got family, a career, and an entire team depending on you. And you're still riding around with drugs in the vehicle. That's not being real. That's not street. That's just bad decision-making, plain and simple. But here's the bigger picture people need to understand. The feds don't just want NBA YoungBoy over drugs or guns. They want him because he represents something they can't control. He's a young black man who built massive wealth, influences millions, and has beaten their system more than once. Every time he walks away from charges, it makes them look weak. Every time he beats a case or gets pardoned, it chips away at their authority. And that's why they're not going to stop. They'll keep watching him, keep waiting for a mistake, keep stacking investigations. And if they can't take him down directly, they'll apply pressure to the people around him. They'll make examples out of Mellow Rackz and the driver to send a clear message. Protect NBA YoungBoy, and you're going to pay the price. The real question now is simple: will NBA YoungBoy actually learn from this? Will he finally understand that his freedom is hanging by a thread and start moving differently, or will he keep crashing out until feds eventually get exactly what they've been waiting for? Because here's what's really at stake. If YB catches any new charge while he's still under scrutiny from that presidential pardon, the consequences won't be light. Federal prosecutors can come back at him even harder, arguing that he didn't learn his lesson, that he's a continued risk, and that he deserves the maximum sentence. And this time, there won't be a pardon waiting to save him. Mellow Rackz and the driver bought him time. They gave him another shot at freedom, another chance to move smarter and get his life in order. But if he wastes that opportunity, if he keeps moving reckless, then their sacrifice means nothing. They'll be standing in court dealing with drug charges while YB ends up right back behind bars. For anyone who hasn't followed NBA YoungBoy's legal history closely, here's the bigger picture. He's been arrested multiple times since the start of his career assault cases, weapon charges, drug-related situations. He's done prison time. He's been on house arrest. He's worn ankle monitors. And despite all of that, the same patterns keep repeating. Some fans call that authenticity, saying he really lives what he raps about. But there's a line between being real and being self-destructive. You can stay authentic without constantly putting everything you've built at risk. The culture needs to have an honest conversation about this. We praise artists for staying street and not changing when the money comes back. What cost? How many talented rappers have we lost to prison or the grave because they refuse to adapt? How many families have been torn apart because someone wouldn't move smarter? NBA YoungBoy has the talent to be one of the defining artists of his generation. He's got the fan base, the work ethic, and the musical ability. But none of that matters if he's locked up. None of it matters if he keeps handing the feds reasons to come after him. And then there's the people around him. They're in an impossible position. Mellow Rackz took a charge for Himthat's real loyalty, real sacrifice. But what happens if she's sitting in prison while YB is outside making music with New Circle? What happens when the driver is stuck with a criminal record that follows him for life? Will YoungBoy take care of them the same way they took care of him? Because in the streets, loyalty isn't supposed to be one-sided, it's supposed to go both ways. When you take a charge for someone, there's an understanding that comes with it. That person is supposed to make sure you're straight, put money on your books, cover legal fees, and look out for your family while you're down. That's how loyalty is supposed to work. But the music industry is filled with stories of people who took charges for artists and got forgotten once they were no longer useful.